Hey, everybody. Okay, so today we are going to be covering chapters 13 to 16, the last portion of our book. And I just have to say, I feel like we needed way more time to be able to dig into this book, but I think we're with these 4 sessions, we're giving you like the best nuggets, the best tidbits of the whole book. But next time, whenever we do this book study again, I already know that we need a lot more sessions because this is so good. Yeah, Justina and Janelle are saying yes, we need more time. Okay, so Sarah, go ahead and tell us what you learned from chapter 13.
All right. I love this chapter. Anybody who knows me knows I kind of love schedules and plans and when things go to plan. But I know it's much harder now being a mom, planning things around having kids. And when I saw this chapter, I was like, oh, now there's going to be a schedule. And I saw the numbers. And even though I like numbers, I thought, oh, this is getting complicated now. But I just read like 2 paragraphs and it all makes sense. That when you know what your time is worth, then you want to have some type of a schedule. You know that you need to be efficient because you probably all did the numbers. So I'll tell you what my numbers were. I was with my husband when I was thinking it over, and I thought 6 figure, that's a lot. Like I can't even think that high. But okay, I'll say my goal is 100,000. And my husband was like, oh no, it has to be like 500,000. I'm like, why? Why 500? That's a lot of money. And he's like, you know, all the goals I have, all the plans I have, the business I want to start, and all the things we talk about we want to do as a family. And then he says, plus all the places you always want to give. There's like every day you have like a new thing you want to do in a new place you want to give. And you're going to need a lot of money for that. So I realized that he's right. I need to think a lot higher in numbers and just dream that big and make it happen. And so I went with 500,000, and my goal would be to work 4 hours a day. That makes 20 hours a week if I did that 5 days a week. And I understand that to get to your goal, you often have to work a lot more than that, and you have a lot longer days. But as far as goal, 500,000 and then 20 hours a week, that makes my time worth $481 an hour. I was like, whoa! Like okay. My time when I've worked at other jobs has been at the most probably $20 an hour. So my time is worth $481. Then I'm a top notch, like I don't know what you would call it, a hot shot person. Like whatever you say to me, it better be important and it better be growing my business because I'm really important. My time is worth $481 right now. So like, am I making sense?
Yes, you absolutely are making sense. So if somebody books a 3-way chat with you, they better be saying exactly what they would need to say and not wasting your time.
Yep.
And we're not saying this like we're not ever going to have good conversations or whatever. It just puts it into perspective that this is huge potential and your time is better spent, you know, focusing on things that are income producing than actually scrolling stuff, randomly chatting about this and that, whatever. You can do that on your off time. Like when you're not on your business hours, you can do it.
Yeah. So if your goal is to work 4 hours a day, then those 4 hours, you know what your worth is, and you know that you better be efficient, and you know that, okay, I do need a schedule, and I do need to know a plan, and I do need to have like knowing, okay, this and this is what I'm going to do because my time is worth a lot of money right now.
Yes. It put it into big perspective for me too. Very much so.
Eva, what was your goal? Your goal times your hours.
Okay, where did I write it down? I wrote it down last night on a piece of paper. I don't have it here now, but I did calculate what I was already making and the hours I was already working approximately, and it was, what was it? $263 an hour. That's actually already happening. That was
oh my goodness.
That's a lot. A lot. So if I put it, that wasn't my goal. That was what was already happening. which made me feel like, wow, I need to make sure my hours are well put together, not so random. I'm super random with things. And it just made me like, I need to help everybody else do the same thing. That's what my biggest focus needs to be, getting more people to be able to do the exact same thing. I love that. Moving on. Coaching calls. What was your next thing in the chapter that you really liked?
That to spend 15 minutes before the beginning of each week, like Sunday night, spend 15 minutes to go over your schedule so you know what you have for the week, and then spend 5 minutes at the end of each day to know what's coming the next day. And I loved especially that she said to use one calendar for everything. Use one calendar for all your to-dos, for your job, for your networking, for your appointments, for your family things, for your social events, for everything your husband has going. Use one calendar, have it all in one spot. Makes you a lot less frazzled, and you have like a much better idea of what you have going on and what you need to prepare for the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super important. Ruth, do you have any comment?
I know when I have everything all written down, I have a big planner, and yeah, it helps to not be flipping in this book to see that and this book to see that. Yeah, I bought a big book in the fall and started writing everything out, and it helps. Yeah. And I've done it both ways with IPA, like just deciding during my IPA hour who I'm going to message and planning it out the night before. And I get a lot more done when I planned out who I'm going to talk to the night before.
Yeah.
And even writing it down, like the saying, I don't know what the percentage is, but when you write down your goals, you're much more apt to reach them. And even little things like getting that IPA done, it happens.
Yep. And it's just so much more focused instead of you like, okay, now I need to do my IPA. What am I going to do? And you spend like 5 minutes trying to figure out what exactly you're going to do and who you're going to talk to. Instead of being super laser focused. I love Brooke Hemingway when she talks about super focused IPA. I don't even know what her video is called right now, but that lady has it down pat when she's talking about, like, she's like no nonsense business. And then when her business hours are over, she's like friendships and like she gets stuff done. I think she's amazing. Coaching calls must have a purpose. When you're doing coaching calls, you can't have, just on and on gabbing about this and that. You need to have a purpose for your coaching calls. That was a really good section there.
I liked her idea of sending a questionnaire beforehand. So get people to admit how much time they're spending. And if they don't meet the quota, she cancels that coaching call because her time is worth over $1,000 an hour.
Yeah. So she wants, that's why she constantly says your biggest, I think it's in one of these chapters that we're covering, your biggest or your most important thing, parts of working this business is recruiting and helping your newbies. And it doesn't say just your new, okay, we're probably right on this page right now, where she says not just any newbie, but newbies that are committed and responsive. Like they are responding to you and they are committed. So those are the newbies that you're supposed to be spending 80% of your time on, the IPA and the new ambassadors. So she didn't say anything about spending a lot of time on setting up contests, making posts for your team, gathering information. She didn't even talk about that stuff. I just find that interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I like at the very end of the chapter, she talks about grouping your activities together, and you end up wasting a lot less time if you do your activities in groups. Like, if you're doing coaching calls or three-way chats, to book a whole bunch in a row. Like, instead of doing them here and there throughout the day, replying to messages or emails, doing that, you know how you kind of get on a roll when you start messaging people, you message another one, and you get on a roll, and you just keep doing that rather than flipping back and forth to to making a post, to researching something, to doing a three-way chat, but rather to plan your time in groups.
Yeah.
And that it's scientifically proven that you get a lot more done that way.
Mm-hmm. I just discovered, and probably a lot of you already knew about this, but an app called, or program called Calendly, where if you are I don't know, yeah, this is mostly gold and above, senior gold and above on here. If you have a team of that size already and you are getting booking three-way calls, because that's like a really big part of your business, you need to be able to schedule things really well. And Calendly has a spot where people can go on and book something with you, and you can block off spots that they can't book because that's your family time or that's your whatever time that you're not doing this, but they can go and book, and then it'll send you a message saying somebody booked a time with you, and you'll have time during that time. You block that off as a work time, so I'm having a real struggle with like getting three-way calls booked correctly because of time. There's 3 people and there's a whole bunch of them want to do it with me. So Calendly is perfect. I'm going to be setting that up, and then it will be easy to have lots of three-way calls booked. Like I can have like 6 booked in an afternoon, something like that.
Scheduled for you.
Yeah, it's scheduled for me.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like her point to do calls versus try to meet all your people in person. Yeah. Because not only does it save you and them time, because remember, your time is very valuable, but it shows that you don't have to be local to be successful. And that's a big thing. Yeah. Can be from anywhere. Yeah. And I really liked her reminder that we each have a time of day that we work best, so if we're not a morning person, that's okay. I mean, it's good to, get up earlier and not be lazy. But if we work better at night, then do your work at night. I really like that.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be someone that we're not.
Okay, so I think there's a lot more to say on chapter 13, but let's move on to chapter 14. Taking care of you along the way. When I read this chapter, I was like kind of surprised that was in the book. Because that's my thing that I don't even think about it, that it's part of my business. It's taking care of myself along the way. My husband tells me this all the time. He's like, how are you going to be pouring into so many people if you're not taking care of you and taking time for you and taking off time and personal development? Well, these things, I do them a little bit, but I need to be doing them a lot more. And so I was surprised when I saw this chapter in here.
Well, and something that hit me as I was reading it was that it's part of the attraction marketing that we're working for, because if people see us just working all the time and burning out, why would they want to join us? So seeing that we care enough about ourselves and our families to invest in ourselves, take time off, unplug, that's all in this chapter, they're going to be more attracted to us.
Yeah, and she talks about that consistently, about being magnetic, what you're going to attract.
Yes.
You don't want to attract people who are just going to work all the time and get burnt out, because that's what you're doing. The reason why I was surprised this was in here was just because I thought it would be all about the business and not about you.
She even mentions watching TV. I'm like, what? You did that?
Yeah. Okay, what stood out to you the most in that chapter, Ruth?
Oh, my book is all marked up. But one of her very first comments was about, if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be exhausted and you're not going to enjoy your success once you get there. And I'll never forget Jessica telling us that, that one crazy spring and summer that she worked so hard, which isn't a bad thing, but then her adrenals were just shot. She went to Hawaii and had to recover from that. So one thing that we can do to take care of ourselves is to pursue those business people. Because her problem was she had recruited a team of sick people that were just constantly asking her questions, and she was having to pour so much. So to pursue the people looking for business, that's going to help us a lot. So the whole hook the fish you bait thing, that's been on my mind a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I really love that she says, learn to say no to things, but she says, learn even more to say yes to things. So instead of you like, okay, so I need to now, in order to help myself and to be good to myself, how does she word that? Take care of yourself. Instead of thinking you need to be saying no to all these things, and thinking of it as saying yes. Because you're going to say yes to people helping you. Yes to somebody cleaning your kitchen. Yes to somebody doing your laundry or whatever.
And looking at it as a business investment, if you have to get your head in the right spot. I mean, even the things that you can't technically write off by the IRS, but thinking of it that way, hiring a housekeeper. I remember going to an event that Shelley Nisley spoke at, and somebody was asking her how she went diamond in just over a year as a homeschooling mama. And she's like, look, I talked to my husband. And I was like, if you can give me a year, I think we can do this, but means we're going to eat fish sticks and chicken nuggets and stuff. You have to, say yes to, letting that go or hiring I think she hired a housekeeper too, because you can't do it all. It's impossible. And, so.
Do you watch Shelley Nisley, what she eats now? Do you watch her family table and the meals that are on her table? They are not fish sticks now. Her meals make me so jealous all the time. It's just like a gorgeous feast, every day. She's amazing.
Well, and she mentions in here, I forget how she words it, but keep in mind that the more we say no now, sacrifices we make now are going to bear fruit later on. The more we'll be able to say yes later on. So, because this business is hard if you can't see long term, because you're pouring in so many hours and getting little return in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it just multiplies.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So she
see
said
what else.
Say yes to personal development. Say yes to downtime, and downtime cannot be work. I have gone to the spa, and my husband says, honey, you need to go and get a massage, and there's a nice little spa close by. I love it. And I always put my phone with me, and I always send messages while I'm there. And this chapter is you cannot do that. That's not downtime. So I guess I'm going to have to go tell
But the exercise thing too, and I need to get better at that. I love walking. That's my thing, and I'm not going to try to be anyone else with weightlifting and stuff, but I love to walk.
Yeah.
And she points out that when you're stronger physically, you're more confident, which makes you more magnetic, which helps you attract the people that you want to run with you. So pouring into yourself really does affect your business, whether or not you realize it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the personal development growth is huge. I'm so big on that because I've seen it work. The fall right after I joined, I think it was October, I went silver, and it was so exciting. And then November, nothing. December, nothing. And I was so discouraged. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? So I got a book, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was either What to Say When You're Talking to Yourself, or Dale Carnegie one about talking to people. And I'm like, okay, let's see if this works. So I read the book, and by the end of December, I don't know, I had 3 or 4 people sign up. And I didn't understand it yet, and I still, I can't explain the science of what you put in comes out, but it really does work.
Yeah.
Your body, your habits just follow suit of what you're putting in your brain.
And just the whole thing of you're not just taking care of your body, you're taking care of your mind. If you are feeling not confident in your mindset either, and you're feeling negative, something happened that day where you just felt frustrated and you couldn't fix it in your head, and find a positive spin or something to be grateful about, you're going to feel that way when you're in the grocery store. You're going to feel that way when other people are looking at you, and you're going to be short with your kids, and you're going to be working on your mindset, working on your body, working on is
every day.
Yeah.
Every day, whether it's because it's quality, not quantity. It doesn't have to be a long time, but every day do something.
Yep. She says even if
And I like
personal like growth, reading or listening, even just a few minutes before bed or a few minutes after you wake up. She says you can't afford not to do it.
And she points out that it doesn't have to be all business, you know, just becoming a better human. It can be parenting, you know, marriage, book, whatever, but something. And I liked her reminder to be kind to yourself. Like, you will have those days that she says that go to hell. You know, your kids having that meltdown in the grocery store, your IPA not going as planned, and to just be kind to yourself. Yeah. It was Kristen Abart. She said Jarrett, whenever Jarrett heard her saying something negative about herself, he would say, "Stop talking about my wife that way," to her, you know, as a reminder to get back into the right, speak positive words over yourself.
That's so good. And she says, in a business where we must be magnetic and patient and resilient, downtime is essential.
Her reminder to unplug, like daily, weekly, yearly.
Yeah, she's like, for sure weekly, and then days at a time, yearly. So that's don't be working don't be working on your vacation.
Right. Sometimes it's necessary.
I think it's fun to like build relationships, like you're meeting new people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, right, we want to be duplicating. So our team needs to see us doing that you can still enjoy life and have a rocking business. And our family really needs it. If we want to be successful long term, we need those business partners to be happy with us.
Yeah. Do you have anything to point out on starting your day the right way? On page 194.
No, I have not. I read that and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. And I was going to try it this morning, but then my baby woke up crying and then my 4-year-old climbed in bed and I'm like, well, that went to pot.
I know.
So maybe you have some wise words to share there.
That's basically the same. I know that starting your day the right way is like even making your bed makes a huge difference in your mindset. And when you don't, I often do not do that. I often don't make my bed. I'm just like, get out, get to work, do this, do that, do that. I'm like all these things in my head that I want to do. And my mind is always flooding with new ideas and stuff. And I'm like, oh, my time is not well spent making my bed. But really, when I do make my bed, I feel so much better. Like you've accomplished something already. So now you get to do your next thing.
I love that she when she wakes up, she thinks of something she's grateful for. It made me think of like growing up that I never thought things like this. So this is like a really good thing I want to teach my kids too, to wake up being grateful. And she says that she thinks of something that she intentionally wants to be that day. Like if she knows she's going to have a really busy day, today I'm going to be peaceful. And it just helps her throughout the day that she set her mind that way first thing in the morning. I love that.
Yeah. And someone commented, get up before the kids, set the alarm early, and do not hit snooze. I'm liking that I get to see these comments. I never hit the snooze, ever, because I don't have an alarm clock.
No, my kids wake me up early enough.
But yeah, if you're...
And like Sarah was pointing out, and you can still have that right mindset. You can still have that peaceful mindset and choose something to be grateful for, even if you're nursing your 2-month-old and your 4-year-old is snuggling with you. It does, you know what I mean? Peace does not depend on our circumstance. So just because you have all the kids in bed with you doesn't mean that you can't start out with the right mindset and have a good morning ritual. So
yeah, and even when things are really hard and you have like 5 things gone wrong first thing in the morning, you can still protect your mindset and you still have things to be grateful for. That is not.
And you can still not grab your phone first thing to check all of your emails and messages.
Yeah.
You can still like protect that so that your head isn't already running with all the business stuff that has to get done.
Yeah. Charla is saying, make sure you get dressed and put on makeup. It makes a huge difference. It does. It makes you feel ready for the day, accomplish things. Okay, so let's move on to chapter 15. I feel really bad that we're skipping some stuff, but we'd be here for hours, which I wouldn't mind. But okay, it's a family affair. So this is all about what's in it for them. Your business needs to be with your whole family. You can't be having your business and you being the only one knowing what's going on. They don't know your goals. They don't know what you're trying to accomplish. They're going to get really frustrated with you if your husband and your kids do not know what's going on. They need to know what's in it for them. So I loved that she makes sure to talk to her husband, and her children know when she has a goal. Her children know, her husband knows, even their team goals. Like they know her level 1 is trying to earn a Lexus this month, like, or whatever. They know this and they rejoice together with her. So that makes it a whole family affair. Who says you want your significant other to not only know about and understand your business, but also to be your biggest cheerleader. She does cover a little bit on what if your husband isn't supporting your business, and basically tells you to be kind and patient and, keep earning that money so that he will get to that point. She never says, leave him in the dust or anything crazy like that. So she's telling all wives not to be pushing their husbands. Let me see. Yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? I liked you kind of talked about that already with Abe's dreams were bigger than your dreams. You just found that out.
Yeah, he always does that. He always, when I talk about something, he takes it to a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she talks about, my family is still pretty small, but she talks about having a family-wide, having like a board up for your kids to see, so that when your kids see you're busy and you're working, they see why. They have it visualize what you're working towards and what they can go and do now because of what their mom is working.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I liked. I circled that, the family board thing, because I thought that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked her detailed ideas on how to get them involved. I mean, because my husband and my kids have been supportive all along, but that's not enough. Like to give them actual jobs to do to help and to discuss things. Like I hadn't ever thought of sharing goals with them of a team member trying to rank up,
Mm-hmm.
or I that just hadn't ever crossed my mind, but I can see the wisdom in that.
Mm-hmm. And then she talks about collecting pictures of things that they want to, together with your goals that match your goals, and then putting them on the vision board. So that's something really cool that they can do. And it gets them thinking big. Like, what if I could one day be a fireman, or whatever it is that they're like imagining that they want to do, and they just think, well, I could never do that because I'm always just going to be here. It gets them in a different mindset too if they get to imagine along with you.
Didn't she let her son run one of her team Zoom calls? Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat.
And he got to share. What did he share? Something. What was it?
The poinsettias, the flowers.
Oh yeah, how many he had sold or something?
Yeah.
Like his success. Yeah.
And he was sharing something on mindset, how he kept going. Something. It's just slipping my mind now. But I just thought it was so impressive that he shared something on there. And the Zoom call, that is so good. She did that for him. She did that for him, not just for her team. That was so good. She talks about leveraging your husband's network. So if you've never talked to or had your husband tell you what his network was before you got married or what it is now, that you're really, really missing out. Your guy is sitting on a potential gold mine and needs to understand that the more he taps into his network, the faster you can grow. I hadn't really thought of this either. I kind of thought, I know all the same people my husband knows, sort of thing. But no, he knows people I don't know. And he's talked to lots of them, but I bet he can make a longer list if we just sat down and did it together. So that was something new, having your husband write a 100 list.
My husband's really good at that. He just brought me a potential last week. He talks to everybody out on the job, and yeah, so that works for us.
And even if he's not doing the business, here's a little section where she says, your husband doesn't need to know more than that. So he doesn't need to know all the details, is what she's saying. If he gets questions he can't answer, he simply should say, my wife has all the information, let's connect you two. That is so simple for him. So if he just, sometimes we can utilize that a lot more than we think. And sometimes our husbands are afraid to share with other people because they're scared of the questions. They're like, oh, I like Plexus. I like what you're doing. I support you, but I'm not going to tell people because I don't know what to say. So telling him that he doesn't need to know what to say, just connect me with you or your wife or whatever. So awesome. Making sure your kids are part of your business. Oh yeah, involving your kids in team recognition. I guess we talked about that already. Oh, this is okay. I found the spot where he was on the Zoom call. So we are going to go to chapter 16, the last chapter. This is where she lists all the fears. I think she did a very good job listing all of the ones that I could even think of. So we're going to have a challenge for you guys. I want you guys to read the list of fears that are on, what page is this? Page 215. And check all the ones that are yours. Check them, and then I want you to say the opposite. I want you to turn it around into an affirmation and then comment them in the group. What do you think? Is that a good challenge for them, Ruth, Sarah?
Yeah, and
I
I like how how we've learned how to embrace receiving no's. But as I was reading this chapter, I was like, okay, I need to let fear excite me, because the fact that there's fear present means I'm facing something huge. Fear will always show up when we strive for great things.
Yeah.
So it means I'm doing something great if there's fear there. And then, if there's fear, that's the exact thing that we need to do. So, yeah, I'm going to get excited about fear this week.
And that's why this is like the last chapter. She says, even if you understand and do all the things that you've learned from this book, even if you know all of that, duplication system, everything, there's still one thing that will keep you from your success, and it's your fear. Even if you know and do all the right things, and you are still dealing constantly with fear and letting that fear hold you back.
Well, it means you're not actually breaking the lid. You're not blowing the lid off. If you're doing all the things but not facing fear, it means you're not doing anything to grow yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're going to stay under that lid.
Yeah. And anytime that you are telling yourself a story in your head of why you can't do something, fear is always behind it. Even if it's just, oh, I can't do this because of what, just like a simple explanation you tell yourself in your head. She says fear is behind all of your stories that you tell yourself in your head. So,
and just because we have fear doesn't mean that we're not brave. Like, fear isn't the absence of courage. It's about being brave through your fear and just overcoming it.
Yeah. Like I still have,
and she does
like reading through.
That's good to know.
I still have a bunch.
Even diamonds have fears.
I do, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get over that one, and this is how I'm gonna do it. And what fear you were talking about? The fear of success. That's a big one that people don't talk about a lot. the fear of success. Like a lot of people be like, what? Why would you be afraid of that? But it's a real thing that a lot of people fear, and they don't actually even want to say it because they don't know why they fear it. Ruth, do you want to share what you were talking about before the Zoom?
Oh, yeah. Just how when I think it was ranking up to gold, or maybe I had just hit gold, and I started freaking out. And it was either you or Jessica, or maybe both of you that I was talking to, and I was like, I'm afraid of being successful. And one of you helped me find the right word for that. It's not actually success you're afraid of, but change. Because there's huge changes. I mean, going from the safe, 9-to-5 job to network marketing is such a huge mind shift. And to think about doing this for the rest of your life, like long term, do I really want to do that? Am I going to be able to lead a team well? Do I want to do that? It's like all of these fears are running through your head. And it's not actually being successful that you're afraid of, but change, because really your whole life is changing.
Yeah. And also people get afraid of that it's going to change them and they're going to turn into somebody else after they're successful and they won't be the same. That totally happened to some people. But I think it's just like I said in my Diamond documentary, that money amplifies what you already are. So that would have happened to them either way, as they grew a giant business. So it really is a heart thing.
Right.
You're not going to change into a different person if your heart is how would you say it? I don't know how to explain this properly. If your heart is always pure in intentions in what you want to do, right? Okay, so
I like how she wrapped it. She brought it all the way back to, I think it's in the very first chapter, where she talks about having our dreams big enough that they're going to motivate us all the way to meeting our goals. And it's not enough to have a dream for someone else. Like, it has to be for us. It has to reach our heart and motivate us. And she says our desire to go after our dreams has to be more powerful than the fear that's holding us back. So she kind of brings it around full circle. Like, that's what's going to get us past our fear, is if we've created that dream vision big enough for us, not for our husbands, not for our kids, but for us.
Mm-hmm. You did it perfectly. And she's like, so the great news about fear is it's not our job to argue with it or fix it or escape. It's our job to act in spite of it. That's probably like the best chapter in the book. I don't know if we have time to read all the fears, but I really need everybody here to read all of the fears and mark down which ones are fears to you, and then find solutions of how you can go past those. Write down, I would start by writing down the opposite of that fear. Just like fear of not going fast enough. Saying, I am going fast, my team is running, we are going places, saying that to yourself instead of saying, I'm feared. But anyway, I think that...
And keeping in contact with your dual upline is so helpful, because all of these fears are valid, and like the whole fear of change thing. I mean, you don't know what to do, and these fears are there. Like, so talking, it was so helpful to talk to you and Jessica, and you just reminding me that, it's okay, you can do this. Jessica even laughed at me. I told her way back when that I knew that one day I was going to have to do a Zoom, and that was really freaking me out. And she's like, you'll be fine. Like, oh, okay. I'll be fine.
She's so like that. And she's like, get over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
stop it. She's like, stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I loved what she wrote. I just want to put this in here. What she wrote in the final words. I'm just going to read this whole little paragraph here. As you get more and more successful in your company and even the entire profession, Don't get caught up in your own press. Don't chase the accolades and the recognition. Don't try to be the best, the fastest, the top earner, or the biggest tease. Try to be the best you can be every single day for you, for your loved ones, and your team. There may not be a company title for this, but it is a life title, and it's called Servant Leader. I loved that she wrote that. Because we can get so caught up in competing with each other with credits or whatever, points, whatever it is, those kind of things. And she's like, be the best you can be every single day for yourself, for your family, for your team, and be a servant leader. I just thought that made me really like her when she said that. That made me really like her. Okay. Anyway, I think that's all we're going to share today, and I think we're going to plan to do a little series with this book because we did not have enough time to cover everything. It was so. So Ruth and Sarah, thank you for sharing today. Do you have any more thoughts before we close up? Okay, awesome. We're going to have the recording up for everyone else later. See you later, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.